Welcome to episode 4 of the Lily List podcast. In this episode, we speak with Lydia Lunch about her artistic life, what she's done, what she's up to today, and where she's going. We are grateful to have had Lydia as a guest, and as always, you can go to lilylist.com for more information about the podcast and other resources. Thank you for listening. Lydia?
All right.
Thank you for joining, not only joining, but spending your time here the last couple days.
It's been wonderful. I love it. I will return.
Well, anytime. If you just want a place to get away, you know what we got here, so you're welcome.
Thank you. I'm the dog whisperer as well.
So Lily List is an idea I've had initially prepping for end of life, because I've had friends die who were relatively well off and had no plans because they died in their 40s and weren't expecting it. But I learned in my research that people don't like to talk about or think about end of life. I know for you it's probably not an issue, and for me it's not an issue, but I sort of changed the focus because I do want people to start considering capturing their story and thinking about their legacy.
Yeah.
And legacy means different stuff to different people. So you, of course, have had a tremendous journey.
I've had 45 years of documenting, and now actually it's more than 40. I guess it's coming on 48 years of documenting my legacy, even before I knew I was going to have one. Yeah. So I have documented everything, and I own everything. So to me, my call it what you will, I just, legacy if you want, but it's just shitting in the face of history is what I consider it. That's what I was called here to do. That's what I do. I've made my mark, and I will continue making it. That's it.
I think, well, what I've liked is I think, who knows, different people might consider you different things. To me, you've always been just an artist. And what I think of artist, I think of creator. And you've just created, right? Whatever medium it was, you're telling stories at the end of the day.
Even my photographs, which I just showed you, it's like I had to start doing, especially war montages, because I've had the bullhorn to my lips since Ronald Reagan, and I had to find another language in which to do it. But it's all one and the same, whatever format at that moment my expulsions take, and it varies, and I'm a juggler. And often I'm doing all at once. I will have a band. I will be doing spoken word. I will be doing the montages. I will be hosting salons. I will be touring, but it's just what I wake up and do. At the same time, though, I don't ever feel like I have to do something. Right. Just that I've been more prolific than most people is sometimes I just go, 8 arms Kali did have. I guess where are the other 6 hiding? Are they in my pockets? But I never feel like, I have to do something. And I know some artists that are like that they can't live a day if they're not doing busy work. Now, I can be as I said last night, some days I want to be the laziest bitch in the whorehouse. And I love to luxuriate. I have no pressure. When it's time to do something, when I feel it's right to do something, then I do it.
So to that end, there's always the question of nature versus nurture. And I wonder, the beginning, genetically, where were you born and what was it like coming up? How much do you feel that this was like just in you innately, and how much did you kind of pick up as you went?
No, I don't believe like some people do in reincarnation. I believe in molecular memory. I believe that all of history's agonies are written in our DNA. It's just some of us cannot decode that computer. So I feel as if I have somehow tapped in, or the access to it, or the need to do what I do was hammered into me, because at the age of 9, I realized when I recognized the insanity that was happening in my house. First of all, I grew up in an all-black ghetto. My father was a gambler, and couldn't keep his hands to himself. But other than that, he was a fucking great guy. But at the age of 9, when I saw that it wasn't only in my house that there was insanity, that it's across the street, it's my uncle, it's the guy down the street, it's the next town, And the riots in front of my door also helped that. Like, this war is never over, and the war is against those that have and those that have not. That's not going to stop. And that's when I think I'm starting to read at a very early age, like by 12, having read de Sade and Miller and Hubert Selby and Genet. I felt that there was a void, an absence. Not that I speak in a female voice or a feminine voice, because I don't. I feel I'm, well, also having killed my male twin brother in the womb, I feel as much male as I do female. Don't let the tits fool you. But I found that there was a pocket in literature that I needed to slip into. And I found that at a very early age. So at 12, when I was reading all these books and I started writing, I'm like, all right, that's what I'm set. That's what I'm bound. That's what I have to do. I have to be the mouth for those that have a mouth but don't know how to scream. And again, it relating back to all of history's heirs to the flagellant, all of history's agonies. The difference between me and a lot of people that have had traumatic childhoods, and this is why I just finished this documentary, Artist, Depression, Anxiety, and Rage, is they feel they're the only ones that it's happening to. And at the age of 9, I'm like, oh no, it's happening to everyone, whatever that is, whether that's incest, poverty, childhood neglect, bullyism, whatever, and malnutrition. This is a universal dilemma that most of us, that a lot of us face.
Yeah.
So I've always felt the power and knowing that I had to be the one that had to. I mean, I'm the first one that ever started publicly speaking about incest. Nobody was talking. Not even Oprah was around that. Yeah. So, because to me, my situation wasn't the worst. This is, this is just across the board, most places, and historically forever. Yeah. So, I don't remember what the question was, but that for sure is the answer. That's how I was called to do what I do.
I'll take it. You have this ability, which I missed it when I was younger. I'm starting to get it now and missed it when I was younger. But we talked about your cookbook.
Oh, yeah.
And the inspiration for it. And I'm thinking those, not pivot points, but impact points. Cookbook's one, that's a great story, but maybe there's others. I'm wondering if there's a couple of things that impacted you to where you said, oh, crap, I could take this and I can do something with this.
No, not really, because... it was literature that influenced me more than music, even though, of course, I loved early Iggy Pop. Berlin by Lou Reed is my favorite album. I loved early David Bowie until Diamond Dogs. And with David Bowie, his musical schizophrenia, I consider myself a musical schizophrenic. But it was, it always felt like whatever I'm doing is the natural thing that needs to be done right then. Mm-hmm. I never felt like I don't have I'm a conceptualist in this sense. I'm a sound conceptualist. Okay, now I want to do a record that's like swamp rock, Roland S. Howard, Birthday Party. Or I want to do something that's blues rock, Cypress Grove. But I never think of who do I want to work with. I think of the concept and then who fits that concept. I could sit here and I haven't worked with everybody, but I couldn't name a name I wanted to do something with because it's the concept that's important, not who the person is. I'm just lucky that I worked with a lot of great people. At an important period in both of our times, like Thurston Moore, who I did an album with in Limbo, or the best song Sonic Youth ever did, Death Valley 69, which a lot of people came to me about. So, yeah, I'm a conceptualist that way. That's how I perceive almost everything. As I just showed you some of my photo montages, it's just all very conceptual. That's, or as I like to say, conceptual, as I am an exceptional conceptual artist, standing alone as always. I mean, I always felt outside of everything, although I've been in many different contingents or at times or places, started with movements as well. But I always, and maybe it's just my natural sense of it's not even superiority, it's just because I'm a fembot, I am not, what would the word be? I'm not entangled with insecurity. Never felt it 1 minute of my life. Mm. I never felt humiliation, shame, which is all things that people feel when they feel only in their house has those traumas happened. Yeah. So having a sense of universal wrong saved me a lot of negative emotions. So I don't even know what the point of that was, but I guess I am kind of like a fembot. I don't get sick. I don't have a lot of these emotions. I have emotions. I'm very empathetic. I'm very sympathetic. I'm like a magnet. And the subtitle of the film I was working on, Artist Depression, Anxiety, and Rage, was My Wonderful Friends, Those Miserable Cunts, which I say lovingly. But yeah. So in some ways, I just feel like, again, I am the voice. I am the voice that comes out of those that do not know how to scream yet.
Yeah.
In
Well,
whatever
I will
format.
tell you, we've spent a couple days together, and I have not picked up any air of superiority.
Because it's so intrinsic within my being. No, but it's not at the expense of others. I want others to feel as good about themselves as I do.
I've picked up a lot of intelligence, self-confidence.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've enjoyed about you is you have a ton of amazing experiences and stories. But one of the things I like about you is I don't get any sense that you're sitting on those stories. You're just thinking about what's that next thing, which I think is a good pivot toward, you showed me some of your photo work,
Yeah.
like the next thing's coming up. Now, as you said, I don't, I didn't get the sense that you were building all of this to leave a legacy, right? It's just kind of happened. But as you get,
I can't help it. I got a trash can full of goods. I could release a whole trunk. Like, I see that trunk at the foot of the bed. I like that trunk in there. I'm like, yeah, I can put some things in there, leave it behind. But no, the thing is, back to what you just said a minute ago. I have a natural sense of superiority, but it's not against other people.
Yeah.
I want them to feel as good about themselves as I do. And in collaborating, I mean, I've collaborated with so many people. There's only two I can think of that were insecure and there was no hope for me to help. But everybody else, is for me to try to elevate them to go, excuse me, if you respect me and can you see yourself through my eyes,
Yeah.
please? Because I just feel people have been, they become heirs to the flagellant. They pick up the whip that somebody else should never have wielded against them. And that to me is just, that's horrible. That's what I try to erase in people. It's like, put the fucking whip down.
Yeah. Well, but that does speak to, that's what I was saying, started to say, is as we all get older, right? There's some part of it that has to a certain point, think about, okay, I've got limited time. How am I going to spend that time? What is it that you want to say? And with your photos and this documentary,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to speak to those a bit, but then, what are you thinking about as you go forward here? What do you want to say with the time that you have left?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have a play that I'd like to put on, and that's going to take some work, but and that's, again, to me, the basic bottom line, same as it ever was. It takes place during the French Revolution, Weimar, Berlin, and now, which have parallels all throughout. So now, during the revolution, we're going to kill the killer. So what does that make us? That makes us the fucking killers. And then Weimar, Berlin, how are we supposed to stop it when there are some people that just think, that do not treat other human beings as human beings? They're animals, they're flowers, they're weeds, they need to exterminate. And then the here and now. And in this play called Marquesa, its main character runs throughout, she finds a way to go in and outbid all the corporations so that she can destroy them from within. And this is my what has to be done. Of course, I'm not into the business world, but I love the concept of having Mother Nature or a woman go into the corporations and, for instance, go outbid the children making computer chips, have malware installed in all of them that goes right back to her main source. Go and outbid the garment industry for the children that are making all the clothes in the sweat factories, putting flesh-eating bacteria in all the fabrics. So this kind of thing, this is just, I sit here sadistically wanting to bring down corporations, and I'm just writing a play about it. We'll see if it ever gets put on. I've done two other plays before. My thing is just, I'm going to carry on. I mean, because I'm still now just showing Artist Depression, Anxiety, and Rage. A documentary came out about my career a few years ago by Beth B. And to just continue doing what I do and finding different ways in which to articulate, either through stories or political speeches, the here and the now, the hysteria of the history that I live in and see, and continue with the podcast, which I think is very important to give voice to all of these different kinds of creative people, and to have a historical, an oral trash bin of all of these people that have left some mark and will continue to leave mark artistically in history.
Cool.
That's what I do. That's what you're doing now.
Yeah, to that end, getting back to my original point of starting this, end of life prep, with you as somebody who has such control over not only yourself, your life, but your work. Have you set up wills and medical proxies?
Well, I mean, good question, because no, I haven't. And the thing is, having seen my father never sick one day of it in his life, I never get sick, although I've had catastrophic problems until I was 30. Hello, trauma, my old friend. But but then my father dying of a brain aneurysm, like pow, like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. The thing is, my archives are all set up, and that's organized. I don't have any money to leave anybody. I'm waiting for somebody else to die who'll leave me some money, and then we can talk about this further. It's like, I'm in pretty good shape, but could get hit by a school bus tomorrow. But no, I don't have things set up, and I know I should, and it's just another job I don't want to take care of. But I don't have anything to leave to anybody, so and I have no family, so they can't come after the scraps.
Well, the Kafka story, of course. And he considered himself such a failed writer. He had a friend, and he said, just burn everything he had.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And the friend didn't.
Right,
And,
exactly. Well, my stuff is beyond being burned. It's already at NYU in a fucking digital library, so that has been established. There's not much scraps to go after that. So, but I don't want to leave a burden to anybody else either. So you're so right. We should look into it. Yeah. But you're looking into it younger than I am, and I'll get around to that anytime soon.
For me, the medical proxy part, what really sparked this in me was seeing the Terry Schiavo story back in the 90s.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And the battle between her husband and her parents, and all, I think just having our medical wishes, at least.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, I've got no husband, and my family has no idea where I am, and most of them are dead, so I'm in good shape.
Well, if you want, you can have them call me.
All right, I will. I'll list you. I'll list you on the will. You list me on your will, I'll list you on mine. We'll see who gets to the graveyard first and whistles past it.
Done and done.
All right, sounds good. Are we done good with this interview?
I'm good. Is anything else you want to share?
Hell to the no. I think that's more than enough.
All right.
You know where to find me. I'm all over.
Thank you, Lydia.
Thank you, Kurt.
You again for your time.
Thank you for your hospitality. I've enjoyed it very much here, and I shall return.
We will see you soon.
Excellent. Thank you.
You can't hang on to yourself. You don't have to try not to hang on to yourself. It can't be done, and that is salvation. The most important thing for anyone to realize is that you and every person you see will soon be dead.